It is time. It is time to brew your best beer.
Alrighty, we have some changes, some minor changes to the SJPORR Challenge website. For those of you who have registered, when you log back in again, you're redirected back to your registration form where you filled in your address and stuff. Now, obviously the registrations are closing very soon, but when you log back in, at any stage after that, or even before the registrations close, you can update your address and your contact details and things like that. The other thing that we want you to update is your beer style. Now, when people register, they might not know what kind of beer style they're doing. Like, I've got 3 different beers that I tentatively could be putting into the SJPORR Challenge. So it's not going to be until pretty much the last minute that I go, ooh, that's the beer that I'm going to be putting in. Now, SJ mentioned about having labels on your bottles, because that's part of the homebrewing experience, is to design a cool label that sort of says the ingredients you've used and stuff like that, the ABV and the IBUs and all that sort of stuff. The main thing that we want on the labels, though, however, is your registration code. Now, one of the cool things that you get on labels is the ingredients, because when you're tasting a beer, you can smell it, and you taste it and you go, what is that? There's something in there. And part of the educational side of the SJPORR Challenge is learning about what those flavours are and what it does to a beer. And people are doing some pretty wacky and interesting things. Alrighty, here's our website. We've got our gold sponsors appearing up the top now. We also have a sponsors page. If you haven't checked it out, go and check out the sponsors page, because they're our sponsors that have been contributing. But the thing I want to talk about is on the registration form. Now, this is a dummy test version of the website, so as you see, there's only 93 brewers on it. So this is my development version of it. So I have a dummy account here, test@gmail.com, and code. There's the code. When you log in, you are redirected and you log in at your brewer registration details. Now remember, this is the number that you're going to be putting on your beer so that we can identify your beer. And this number will link in with the voting system as well. Now the voting system, we haven't finished working on the voting system yet, and there will be a video that comes up showing you what the voting system is doing and how it's going to work. But some of the information that we want to appear on the voting system is down here. It's information about your beer. Now obviously you can come in and you can log in and you can change your details, your delivery address and your username for YouTube, etc. But more importantly, your beer style, because this is all about the beer that you're entering into the challenge. So let's say you do have a beer that's within BJCP style, and let's say we're doing a blonde ale, just for shits and giggles. Well, the ingredients section allows you to write down the extra things that you're sticking in that blonde ale. Raspberries. That'll be interesting. Raspberries in a blonde ale. It'll be a pink ale, wouldn't it? Oh, the rain has just come down. What else? Pale malt and a little bit of acidulated malt. Okay. Oops, spelled pale right. Now, of course, you don't need to write your volumes or anything and disclose what your recipe is. We're just interested in some of the ingredients that you put in there, so that when people go to score it and they go, oh, I can taste something in them. God, that rain is getting heavy. Please excuse the rain in the background, it's just decided to pour down. Another interesting thing is ABV. 4.3. Hey, why not? Let's call it 4.3. And IBUs, let's say 45 IBUs. Okay, so they're just some details about the beer, and when your beer is brought up on the voting screen, those details will appear as well, along with the style guideline for the blonde ale. Now this acts as education for the person that's scoring it, because they can taste the beer and they go, oh, what's that? I can get a slight little bit of acid from that. Where's that acid coming from? You know? And they can go, oh, raspberries in it. Oh, but it's also got acidulated malt. Okay, so where is that acid coming from? And they can start to educate their palate about what's actually in the beer. The other thing is they can look at the IBUs and look at the style and go, oh yeah, look, those IBUs are within range of the style, and get an appreciation of what that bitterness tastes like for a blonde ale. So if you do get a chance, please enter the details for the beer that you're submitting and hit save. So anyway, that's just a little update to the website that we've made, just based on some of the feedback that we've been getting from people, and the suggestion by SJPORR to say, hey look, write the ingredients on your label. Well, now we've got another place that you can write your ingredients down if you don't want to do a label. And it just helps, as I said, with the education when people are tasting those beers, to identify what some of those flavours are. Because that's what the fun is actually learning what new ingredients and different ingredients and weird, funky ingredients like some people are using actually do to a beer, and how they make that beer change totally. As I said, it's not required, it's optional, and at any stage you can log in and you can enter those details. So hopefully you do, and I'm looking forward to tasting some interesting ingredients in some beers. Cheers!